The latest version of FSD is around the corner and expected to be 10 times better than what we saw in the spring. Just one thing, no sunglasses allowed.
And your Tesla may soon be getting one of these puncture-proof airless tires from Michelin, but Michelin says pump the brakes.
And Tesla now lets you check the health of your battery in the app, but there's a catch. Let's dive in. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening to us.
Yeah, we're available on all major streaming platforms, so whether you're in your car or traveling out and about, we appreciate you tuning in.
And so much has happened since our last podcast. We've had the shareholders meeting talking about FSD. We have a new version that's going to be released this weekend.
Now, Elon Musk says this version that's either coming this weekend or very, very soon is going to be 5 to 10 times better when it comes to per mile intervention. So if you kind of wrap your head around how quickly this is improving.
And it's a little bit late coming out to everyone, but he talked about making sure that it was safe.
Yes.
And that was a big deal. It's like you have to make sure that when you put it out there, it's also safe at the same time too. And I think the biggest change with this is that it's finally getting rid of that steering wheel nag, which is so annoying.
Yeah, so initially, of course, it relied on the steering wheel feeling force on it to make sure the driver's paying attention. This particular setup with 12.4.2 is going to now heavily rely on the vision-based interior camera. And the catch kind of is that you've got to have your sunglasses off. You can't have a low-brimmed hat. Your eyes have to be visible by the camera, or else it's going to revert back to nagging you with the steering wheel. And again, this is a big deal for a lot of people as far as being able to finally not have that nag. But of course, if you're in a sunny area, which a lot of the country is this time of year.
Will it still do the nag then if you are wearing sunglasses, or does it just not let you use it?
My understanding is it will let you use it. It'll revert to nagging.
So you have the option of those.
Correct.
Okay, so like you can still wear sunglasses. Yeah. You just have to deal with the nag.
Yeah. You were saying this was late. It was about a month late. The initial 12.4.1 that was sent out to testers, that was actually getting a pretty lukewarm response from the testers. There was a lot of bugs with it. There was some erratic driving behavior. And Elon was talking about really trying to find a balance between making it safe and making it nag free. And that's where we are this weekend with something that is supposedly 10 times better.
I'm so intrigued, really curious to try it out, because I did feel like when we did our last test and we filmed that of FSD, it was really good and it improved so much. Mm-hmm. So now to see these big jumps that we're going to be getting, I want to try it out for myself. So I'm definitely going to be making a new FSD video soon, trying that out. But he also talked about like, well, how many times do you have to intervene? He kept saying that, if you drive it every day for a year, maybe you have to intervene once. And some of the beta testers were getting bored also trying it out, he kept saying. Yeah. So I want to see for myself now. The other thing that was brought up is being able to transfer FSD. This is something I have complained about so many times, and I was glad someone brought this up. One of the investors brought this up to him, and he said, okay, we'll give it to you guys one more time, and he actually kept his word.
Yeah, it's going to be available for one more quarter going in towards the summer season here. So beginning from now until August 31st of this year, if you have FSD on your Model 3, S, X, or Y, you can transfer it to a new purchase of those 4 vehicles. Cybertruck, that's not an option on there. And if you do buy a truck brand new, you do get the trial for 30 days.
All right. So is it finally time for us to trade in our Model 3?
I know you always want to push to upgrade and getting rid of my 2018 Model 3.
Yes, it's a 2018. So much has changed. This refreshed Model 3 is so nice. Yeah. It does make me want to consider upgrading. And now, if this is the last time that we could transfer our FSD, I felt like that was a big thing holding us back. We could do it.
We got one more chance. I know. I go back and forth so many times, Kim. We have a car that I love that has never had, knock on wood, never had any problems coming up on 80,000 miles here. And it's worth about $15,000. It's paid for, FSD's paid for, everything is set and good to go. And you want to pick up a new Model 3, which is $40,000. So we're essentially going to get ourselves a $25,000 bill to get this new Model 3. And that's where the reasoning in this household
Model 3, though. I haven't even told you that. I want the refreshed performance Model 3.
Yeah.
So there we go. Add a little more to that. Hear me out now, because I know that we're like, we can save our old Model 3, give it to our son, and that's a great idea. But what if we go ahead and transfer it over, get the new one, and then we could just buy like a used Tesla for him in 2 years.
That's an option.
It's like the same thing where now we can transfer the FSD.
I just love not having a payment. You just love new stuff.
It's a write-off. Let me know what you guys think we should do. If you were in our situation, would you just like sit tight, be happy with what we have? Or, you know, we do this for a living now. Like, upgrade our car, get that new refresh Model 3. Okay, so moving on. Now, I thought this was really, really interesting because it was kind of backtracked. Michelin has a new tire coming out. It's Airless. It's really cool. It's made for EVs. And everyone said that this was going to be in collaboration with Tesla. Yeah. But now they've kind of gone back on that.
Yeah, Michelin's got these new tires. They're called the Optimus tires, which stands for Unique Puncture-Proof Tire System. And these tires, again, are no flats, no blowouts, no pressure checks. They're as futuristic as it gets. And they said that they're going to be working with GM and the Bolt to possibly get these tires out. This is coming directly from their CEO at Michelin. And then this article was published by, I believe, Not a Tesla app and a couple other publications as well. And once it kind of reached a lot of people, and the CEO had said they're also working with Tesla, they reached back out to the publication saying, no, Tesla's not involved at all. So now there's a little bit of confusion, but I went back to articles as early as April of this year where the CEO absolutely was quoted saying GM, Tesla are in talks here. So maybe they're trying to protect some of this, or
I'm curious if like they couldn't reach a deal and so now they're like going back on it. It's very, very interesting. And speaking of tires and cool tech, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Syncwire. Thanks to Syncwire for sponsoring this portion of the video. So Syncwire is one of the smallest all-encompassing devices out there. It is an air compressor, it is a tire inflator, it is a flashlight, it is a battery charger, all in this one little device. With airflow capability of up to 150 psi, it's perfect for your bikes, sports balls, and your car. It pumps twice as fast as the competition, and being so small and portable also makes it easy to leave in a backpack, glove box, or door pocket of your car, giving you extra peace of mind when you're on the roads. We also have small kids and lots of sports activities, so having one of these handy saves so much hassle. It's about the same height as my phone and weighs less than 1.5 pounds. I love the large and clear LED screen, so even in bright sunlight, you can see both real-time and preset pressure readings. It also has a built-in LED flashlight right here, so look at that. You have your flashlight, you have your strobe for emergencies, and you have a built-in USB right here, so you can go ahead and charge all your devices. And it has great reviews over on Amazon. Makes a great gift too. You can click the link below and search Syncwire Portable Air Compressor on Amazon. And remember, by using our links, you're also helping to support this channel. Let's get back to it.
All right, Kim, are you pumped?
Well, I am pumped about Masterplan Part 4, which Elon has announced he's going to be coming out with. And if you guys haven't been following along, it's basically, I think it was 2006, there was Masterplan Part 1 and 2. And that was basically to build a sports car, use that money to make a more affordable car. And then Masterplan Part 3 came out, and now Masterplan Part 4.
It's in the works, but we really don't have too many insights.
No.
Some clues, though.
We have some clues, and I think that a lot of us have made guesses about that. It's definitely going to have something to do with autonomy, robotaxi, Optimus, and I think so too because he's talked about Hardware 5 coming out, and he said you shouldn't even call it Hardware 5. It really should be AI 5.
You know, he hinted at the Optimus program and also the robotaxi program being by far the biggest value adds to Tesla. He's been saying this for a little while now. To me, what you're saying is 100% spot on as far as this being the direction of where Tesla wants to be long term. What I find interesting is that he actually says that AI 5 is going to consume some 4 times more energy than hardware 3 and 4, which is really fascinating to me. But it's going to be a lot more robust than the previous versions. And they even set up some fans. I don't know if you saw the picture.
Yes, we love our fans.
We love our fans. And this AI 5, by the way, Kim, is going to be available in Tesla's beginning in the second half of 2025. And I thought that was fascinating, too, for him to kind of release that information because naturally, if you're shopping for a car in the next six or so months, you're going to want to kind of stretch that out into the beginning of next year.
Usually, I feel like they've learned that because of the whole Osborne effect, they don't want to like release too much information because obviously now we're like, wait, if I really want full self-driving and I want all the capabilities of it, should I wait for hardware 5? Will full self-driving really work on previous hardware iterations? I guess AI 5, I need to start calling it, not hardware. It makes you wonder about that, right? Like, will full self-driving fully work and be fully autonomous on these other iterations?
Yeah, but it kind of leads and begs the question, what is this all for?
Yeah, what is it for? Why do we need this? And I think at some point Elon had said that hardware 3 would be enough for full self-driving. So is he going back on that, or is this for robotaxi? Is this for, Optimus? It's all really connected with this AI. It's like it's all learning together. It's this whole system. So it's kind of a crazy way to think.
It's really all signs pointing at this is where Tesla's headed. Elon has said this is going to be their biggest moneymaker, and this absolutely looks like is what they're leaning on most moving forward.
I mean, August 8th. August 8th, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Will be like the date. We're all going to be tuned in. Hopefully I'll be there. You never know. But I would love to be and really find out these questions. I'm curious what you guys think. Put that down in the comments below. And also, are you worried about full self-driving if it is going to need this AI 5? Or do you feel confident that the hardware 3 will be enough for it? To me, one of the things I think is surprising about Optimus is the price point that he plans to have these out at, between $10,000 and $20,000. Like that's actually, relatively affordable.
At scale. That's at scale.
At scale,
yeah.
okay.
So I think that we're still probably 5+ years, if that, to being at scale, in my mind at least.
So you don't think that they're going to be $20,000 to begin with?
No, I think it's going to be like 35 to 40.
But he was saying like 20
incentives included.
Do you think we'll get tax? And there's no way we'll have tax incentives on this.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy thing. And then there is a lot of profit. So I thought he was saying that it would be like $20,000 and then the profit would be like $10,000.
Yeah.
Which is like, can he build it then for $10,000?
I mean, the vast majority of what you're getting with these humanoid robots is what they're programmed, what they're capable of, what their brain essentially is, which is these FSD computers, these supercomputers that are on board in the cars. So them having that already in-house, building that already, kind of bringing that to scale at an affordable price, that's where I think this robot, once you have that vision-based system that can navigate the world, and this robot's supposed to be able to do that, right? To navigate the world and be able to move objects, see objects, learn from objects exactly the same way as these cars are on the roads. They've already got that aspect of it figured out. So that's why I think they're optimistic.
I mean, I know Elon Musk said too that you could, if you wanted to learn something, you can just like bring up a video on YouTube and show it to the robot, and the robot will learn it and become proficient in it. Potentially these can be like babysitters, he even said, which is kind of crazy. Like, how would you feel about having one as a babysitter? Would you be okay with that?
I think long term I would be okay with it. Now, again, you've got to, we've done this long enough to know when you hear Elon say some of these things, I believe absolutely it'll happen. But I think it's going to happen 5, 10, 15 years from now. Or, the same thing with FSD. When Elon was telling us it'll stop at street lights, park itself in your garage, and, go find a parking spot. All these things to a certain level are starting to happen. But we learned about these in 2015, 16 when he was teasing them. And, now it's 2024, 25.
So it won't really be for our kids, but maybe our grandkids.
For our grandkids, for sure. But yeah, maybe for our kids when they're, young adults and want some additional help around the house, kind of a thing too.
It's just so wild. It feels like straight out of Jetsons or something like that. But I know there's also a lot of like startups coming out for these robots. And this is kind of like what you're saying, is that there really is no supply chain for these robots. They've had to build all their parts in-house. And then the brain of the robots is essentially this AI 5 and like the cars and this hardware that's coming out. And you need to have a pretty good brain.
The end goal, obviously, is to replace humans for these kind of mundane or dangerous tasks that human jobs have to kind of deal with, and this kind of replaces that long term. They're hoping that there are 2 humanoid robots for every human on Earth, which puts the production rate at 1 billion robots per year. And Tesla expects to build at least 100 million per year or more of these once it starts to hit scale. So that's why I think they have such an incredible perspective on getting this to be one of the most valuable assets of the company as a whole. So.
Yeah. I still am just like, is this the world that we live in? Is this really our future? Like, it kind of is crazy to think about. But if this is successful, it's going to change the world.
So this is all coming, Elon says at least in his timeline, to the factories. Between 1 and 2,000 of these robots are going to be deployed at Tesla factories by the end of next year. So these guys are going to be walking around doing their thing on a smaller scale.
There's 2 right now.
Yes.
There's 2 right now that are already there working.
They're kind of loading shipping containers or batteries on board, doing some of the heavy lifting. But yeah, so that's what essentially is what we're looking at, is 2,000 of these at these factories, which would be quite the sight. I'm sure they're going to make some videos to show this. But can you imagine doing a factory tour and seeing these robots walk past you. And
it's so cool though. Like that would be so crazy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about all this? Like, would you feel comfortable with having one or two of these robots in your home? Do you love the idea? Like for me, just like doing laundry, dishes, cleaning, all that kind of stuff, I would absolutely love it. Definitely not quite there with like babysitting my kids yet.
I just get so spooked of going downstairs in the middle of the night to get water, and there he is standing by the fridge
it's
charging
gonna be like
up.
Megan.
Exactly. His eyes are turned red as it's charging. Sentry mode is kind of going on there, but I don't know. It's going to be this will be the norm. Yeah, this will be the norm, I'm sure, when we're long gone. All right, Kim, up next, we've got Cybertruck, and there are some recalls with the Cybertruck, but they're not the software ones that we almost always see with Tesla. These are two physical recalls specific to the Cybertruck. One of them we kind of got a little hint of a while back, and it's now confirmed by NHTSA. Apparently, they're replacing the motor for the wiper blade. About 2% of delivered Cybertrucks are dealing with this issue, and about 11,600, by the way, have been delivered, so you can take 2% of that. And essentially, they have a malfunctioning gate driver component that requires a replacement. A full assembly replacement is required on this one. They're saying a mobile unit can swing by and take care of this for you. But again, just a handful of these Cybertrucks have had these issues. They're just going to go ahead and swap them out for all of them moving forward.
Yeah, and with the Cybertruck, we kind of saw that with the motor maybe not being quite strong enough on the wiper blade. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's tackling, but I could see that being the case with this. And there was a second recall as well.
Yeah, and this is also another hardware recall for the Cybertruck for those unique sails, where the triangular panel kind of blends down into the bed of the truck. In that area, there's some unique trim pieces that are falling apart on Cybertruck. So Tesla is going to require some new adhesions, but a service team is going to be sent over to your place to be able to take care of this. All right, did you hear about the Rivian news? VW taking a $5 billion stake into Rivian. This is huge news.
Yes.
Big money being injected to give Rivian kind of a lifeline. Remember early in the year, we were talking about Rivian possibly having some financial troubles there for a few months. Well, this really kind of sees through the R2 project, the R3 project. It's fantastic news for an awesome car maker and an awesome company. So this really is good stuff. And it's actually not a one-way trade either.
No, and I keep thinking about this, like, who is it a bigger win for, VW or Rivian? Because VW is going to be getting the tech that Rivian has. Rivian has really good tech
and software,
software in their cars. But then Rivian needs the money to be able to get the R2 and the R3 out to production to be able to get this going.
Yeah.
So to me, actually, I feel like VW is sort of getting more out of this.
Yeah, probably. And honestly, when it comes to software and integration into any EV, we've driven almost every single EV out there on the roads. And that's the only thing that truly matters right up there with range, really. You can kind of get the bonuses of being quiet, being more comfortable, having better performance. You'll find those in a variety of different EVs. But the software ruins all of it, even if you're good at the rest of them, if your software is not great.
Yeah. Who do you guys think is a bigger win for, Rivian or VW? I'm curious what you guys think. And it also makes you think about Tesla and how hard it must have been for them starting out as a company, being able to do what they did.
It makes Tesla look good, right? Because their software, I think, is by far the best, and how it's integrated is also good as well. And it kind of really speaks to what Rivian's been able to accomplish, being essentially the next best thing when it comes to software implementation into an EV.
Yeah. And then you also think about like some of the OEMs, like in order for them to survive, maybe this is what they need to start doing, is partnering with some of these other companies that have better software.
Yeah, it's generally the startups, right? It's the startup tech-focused EV makers that have the best software. There's some that definitely
Fisker was another.
I was going to say Fisker didn't. They
didn't have the software. Yeah. That was kind of the problem with them. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, obviously they're gone bankrupt at this point, and it doesn't mean like you're not going to see oceans on the road anymore. We're still going to see them, and there are. There's more to bankruptcy than there is. We talked about that in one of the videos that we made a little while ago. So if you want to know more about that, go watch that video.
Yeah. And getting back to Rivian as well, they just announced they're going to implement a bi-directional charger into their R1 vehicles, the older ones and the new ones coming out with an upcoming software update. The vehicle-to-home charging is in place there as well. So you get peak charge rate of around 24 kilowatts with a specific wall charger mount that's going to be provided.
I love this. I love that this is like the trend that's coming now, is that your vehicle is becoming your backup generator. I think it's it makes so much sense, especially with electric vehicles. Why not?
It makes you, I think if you're on the fence about getting an EV and you get essentially a backup for your house at the same time, makes it that much easier to jump in.
All right, and speaking of batteries, we have to talk about what Tesla's just added to their app. You can check the health of your battery just in the app now.
Yeah, I think that we're getting enough concerns from people with the range. We know we found range to kind of vary drastically from month to month, and obviously Tesla gets a lot of inquiries about this. So now they've allowed a way for you to go inside the Tesla app and find out if your battery is within reasonable expectation and there isn't really a significant issue by running a quick test on the app.
So we did do a video a few months ago, I guess, where we showed how you can check in service mode and you can get like a detailed report of your battery health of your vehicle.
Yeah, and that's on the center screen.
On the center screen, yeah. But there are several things you have to like run your battery down. It's like an overnight thing. You have to be plugged in. So that's a more detailed approach.
This is a shorter, immediate sort of a thing. The way to do this, just open up your Tesla app, click the service tab, request service, and then click on battery and charging, and then choose range in that option. And you'll be asked, to describe your concern. You can just type the word range in there in that little description box, or really any word. It's actually not going to facilitate a service appointment, where usually anything else you put in there will start a service appointment. This just sends a diagnostic to your car and very almost immediately bounces back saying the report if it's healthy or not. So it's a quick thing. I'll kind of pop up on the screen of what that looks like. That's really the gist of it. There isn't much to this. And again, there's a video we're working on which dives much deeper into this, gets you much more interesting stats about the health of your battery and so much more, and that will be coming soon.
We'll have another video coming out with all that. And one of the things I want to mention about doing it on the car, on the center screen, when you do that whole service checkup, you're actually cycling through the battery, and you don't want to do too many of those, because if you run that whole cycle, it actually affects the health of the battery. Where on the app, you can just pull it up and it's like a quick little, if it's healthy, if it's not, and that just lets you know.
Just the diagnostics,
Just a quick little thing. So you could potentially schedule a service appointment if that was to pop up on the app. Okay. So you guys have probably seen these pictures online with a bunch of Cybertrucks graffitied with F Elon all over them. And these were actually trucks at a service center about to be delivered to customers. But when I saw them, I was like, it's kind of like cool in a way. Like, obviously,
not cool if it's your truck and you're waiting for your new truck.
Yes. I'm not down to graffiti things, but I think it would be really cool if Elon Musk took the one that said F Elon and he like drove it around as his truck, because it's like Elon owning that.
Yeah. They were able to clean this off no problem though. So obviously it wasn't a permanent fixture.
Well, they're stainless steel. I mean, they're very easy to clean up.
You can't get anything to stick to them.
But I'm like, how funny would it have been if Elon took that one and was like, hey, F me, like, all right, like, I'm going to drive this around. I just thought that would be kind of cool. What do you guys think? Would you want to drive like a truck like that, or do you think it's good that they polished it up?
Kim, you and your questions.
I know, he thinks this whole thing is really dumb, but I thought it was like...
Why would anyone want to drive with an F Elon on their car? I mean, I could see Elon having fun with it himself.
Because you're like, okay, when I get a negative comment on YouTube, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to own up to it and like, All
right, moving on to the Model Y, the Gemini wheels, the ugly silver ones that a lot of people have swapped with aftermarket wheel covers. Then Tesla introduced the black wheel covers on them. Well, they're now selling those black wheel covers, the Gemini 19-inch wheel covers, on Tesla's site. It's sold out within a few hours, $45 per wheel or $180 for the set. Very popular aftermarket accessory. Makes me wonder how it's going to impact a lot of the aftermarket sellers of these wheel covers. Now that Tesla's selling them for essentially the same price, if not a little bit cheaper. But to me, the darker covers look so much better.
I agree. I think these look a lot nicer as well. So you see why they're selling now. But if they're sold out, then you can go to the aftermarket. So there you go.
All right, that is all we have for today. And remember, Patreon members get exclusive access and early release to this podcast, never before seen footage, on-air shout-outs as well. Make sure you check that out. We'll link that down below as well.
All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for listening or watching.